Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the AV Club. My guest today is a special young lad. He lives all the way down the stairs to the left. He's my roommate, Daniel Martinez. You may know him, you may not. It's okay. That's the point of the show. Maybe you'll get to know some stuff about him that you didn't know before. He's an actor. We actually found that out in the show. And yeah, it was a great conversation. We talked about cameras, health, fitness, marathons, and just life. So, Daniel Martinez, everybody, enjoy.
I was thinking of a cool video.
Who's that?
The sushi place.
Oh, that's messed up.
The one that Joe Rogan posted.
Yeah.
Because when I went down, remember when I did that video, or we were going to do that video of home slice pizza? When me and Amy went down there, that night we were staying at the resort. I think you and Taylor went to go see Gabriel Iglesias. Is it Gabriel?
Mm-hmm.
Iglesias?
It's
Enrique. We went down there, and that's when I talked to the manager, and I was like, hey, we're doing a video for you. I want to get some night footage. And then we walked up on people that were eating or had just finished eating. And we're like, hey, we're doing a video. How was your experience? And they're like, oh, yeah, this is a great, it's the best pizza in Austin kind of thing. So I told them, I kind of mentioned that. It's like, let's do that. A pop-up shop in Austin is pretty cool. Get some footage of that and just kind of create an advertising piece around it. But they saw it, they read it. The life of a creative, they just read it, don't say anything.
Well, that's what happened to me with the comedy thing. He read it, and then eventually he hit me back up. He's like, you do video too? And I was like, yeah. I sent him all the stuff, and he's like, cool, maybe in the future. And it was just, that was it. And then probably it had to have been a month at least after. He was like, hey, we need you to come do this for us. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
I guess just putting your name out there, let them know you do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they need it, or they have a need, they'll hit you.
Yeah, he didn't pay for my parking. He said he would, and he also didn't. He said there was going to be barbecue.
Was there?
No, I didn't get any barbecue, bro. I was mad. I did get a Red Bull, though, and I put it on his tab. So he told me to, though. But yeah, I should have got...
ordered a 12-pack.
I should have got more. Yeah, I should have ordered some stuff to go.
That's funny.
So the sushi place, they hit you back up and they just saved your contact?
They just said, what's your email? So that our team can reach out to you. I don't know if that's something standard. Because I know different brands, like Getaway House is one. What's that museum that you and Taylor went to?
Wonder Space?
I hit them up and they're like, yeah, hit this up. I think they just defer you.
Yeah.
So that might be a thing.
Well, I mean, I don't see how... I feel like Wonder Space isn't a good one to do because, first of all, it was cool. It was just small. Not very many.
It looks big.
It's not. It's in it almost looks like a warehouse, one of those huge, gigantic buildings that's a warehouse that has multiple offices in it.
Like that aquarium?
And so they had, yeah.
Remember that aquarium?
That was the Austin Aquarium. Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like an old Big Lots.
Exactly. So it was something like that. And it was 2 stories, but there wasn't very many art pieces, exhibits.
Exhibit.
Pimp My Ride, was that exhibit? Dude, so one thing I wanted to... We're rolling, by the way. One thing I wanted to do with you is, I know you don't like this, and I'm going to put you on the spot right away.
Oh, man.
First of all, let me ask you this question. How is work going? How is HEB?
Oh, okay. HEB is... It's interesting. I'm in a cross-functional role. Mm-hmm. So what that is I'll jump from department to department. And so yesterday is a prime example. You're like a free agent all the time.
That's cool.
And but how I started, I'd started as part-time. Mm-hmm. And then they were scheduling me. And it was Christmas, though. So it was around Christmas time. They were scheduling me 36 hours pretty much full-time. Which obviously you don't know. I don't want full time. And so I told him I need 20, 25 hours, And so I think with that request, they've like been throwing me kind of just really random, more so random, because it was like real consistent of like just doing curbside and doing the shopping for people and delivering them to the cars.
Mm-hmm.
But like yesterday, dude, I went straight to like the service area. Or I think it's service. It's like the front end, and I was expected to be like day floor care, which pretty much means like you do bags or like you bag people, or you're standing at the door, or you're pushing carts. And so I'm like ready for that, just kind of mentally like, man, it's kind of gonna be a little boring.
Yeah.
And then immediately they're like, go to grocery, and then go to grocery, and then I'm standing in an aisle and I'm talking to I can't even find grocery actually, so I talked to this, I forget her name, but I find this dude named Chris who used to work in grocery, and he's like, who what are you doing? Like, he's all confused. So he calls on the loudspeaker. He's like, hey, can I get an associate from grocery to aisle 17? And then this chick, I don't even know her name. She's Amanda. Like, who no, Amanda was the one that told me to go to the back. She was like, who are you? I'm like, they told me to come back. And she's like, I asked for Adam. She was talking to Chris. I asked for Adam, not Danny. She looks at my name tag. She doesn't even know me. And then she's like, and then Chris looks at me. He's like, who told you to come back here? And I'm like, Amanda. He's like, Amanda? I'm like, yeah, Amanda in the front. And he's like, hey, Amanda, do you have a walkie? And she's like, yeah, what's up? And he's like, hey, you sent Danny back here, but she needed Adam. And she's like, Adam's not here today. You get Danny. And I'm like just standing there.
In the middle
and she's
of all
like,
this?
I don't even. And then this dude, Scott, walks up and he's like, hey, Danny, finish Emily's order. And I'm like, okay.
How long did this take over? Like, how much time?
A minute and a half.
That's how quick this whole interaction was?
In the aisle, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And so it's just crazy like that. Like, I'm a free agent, bro. I got traded like 4 times right now.
That's funny.
So finished up.
The way you described that to me the other day, I guess it was yesterday, made it sound like it was like a 30-minute event. So I was like, dang, you were just chilling in the aisle?
Dude, I walked up. Amanda said, hey, clock in. I need you to go to grocery. And then they're freaking scanners, bro. Like, this is sick, by the way. Your fingerprint, like, you type in your number and then you do your fingerprint. And it won't read sometimes. So they're like, rub your forehead. I'm like, what? They're like, the grease from your finger. So I'm like, that's sick, because everybody's like forehead grease is probably on this thing.
Wait, so the grease from you need the grease, or you don't need the grease?
She's like, if your finger's oily, like, it reads better.
Oh.
So if it doesn't read, they're like, rub your finger on your forehead.
Well, why don't you just go like this?
That's what that's probably smart. I'm like this, touching.
That's gross. And you have to. Oh.
It's like a HEB
inside secret.
Okay.
Know. That's not what I was gonna ask you about that, because it's gonna lead into this next thing. But I know you don't like to act, dude. So I want us to act out a little.
All right.
Act out a scene as if, I don't know. Let's say I am a customer and I'm looking for. the what's it called? Is it the Asian section? I know there's this international section. Oh, I'm looking for some specific olives, right? That aren't in the regular olive section because they're international olives. So I'll go first, and then you treat me as if you would, okay?
Oh, man. All right.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, how can I help you?
I'm looking for Philippine olives.
The olive section. I have a phone. The olive section. I know it's. I'm not really sure.
Philippine olives.
I know that. Okay, here, follow me, and then we'll walk. Okay. As you can see soy sauce. You can see
soy sauce.
Wasabi.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, this is an international section.
What does that have to do with me?
Well, ma'am. Dude. Well, I'm looking for Filipino olives, and I'm just going off of the name.
I'm Korean.
Well, I'm not saying. Well, ma'am, I can help. I can find somebody else to help. That knows. Let me find Gene. Gene knows. He stocks the shelves during the daytime. So let me find Gene. If you want to follow me.
Very good. Very good. You passed that test. I didn't think you were going to pass it.
Dude, a lot of the time,
you
bro.
Fumbled, Bo. You fumbled the ball right there.
People ask, bro. Like, I'm kind of new. Like, I'm 3 weeks deep. And they're like, hey, sir, where's the corned hash? I'm like...
You ever had
I'm
corn
like,
hash?
you doing drugs?
That's good.
No, I'm like, dude, I have no clue. So it's always like I'm trying to. You don't want to be like, "Psst, I don't know.
Yeah, you got to at least
I'm
stall
like,
a little bit.
sir, this is like real, sir. I saw them the other day. I think they're on. And I'm looking for like another person.
You're looking
and I'm
for
like,
a sign?
Andre will know. Andre, and then I'll get Andre
That's
or somebody.
funny. Is he more experienced?
Heck yeah, Andre.
Okay.
He knows what's up.
He's
And
a vet.
Michelle too.
He's a vet in the HEB
And then
game.
I'll be like, sorry, sir. And I'll act like I'm, because I don't know yet.
Yeah.
But
dude, one thing I really wanted to like bring out was the fact that you're probably most known for your camera and your videos and photos.
mm-hmm.
First of all, which one of those do you like better? Because that's something that I thought I knew, but I don't think I do know. So I'm genuinely curious as to which one you prefer.
I don't know, dude. About 2 months ago, I'd probably be like, yeah, video. Is something I enjoy the most. But like it's like I don't know, dude. It's like photos is what got me into it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of hard to not enjoy that, like at the end of the day, a little bit more. I think honestly, bro, like, and it's kind of like a spoiled thing to say, but working on like a computer, like a laptop that's laggy, and you're throwing your photos in Lightroom and it's laggy and you can't do brushes and you can't like import and feel like you can totally just like get through a session without your computer kind of like holding you back.
Yeah.
It's kind of helped, like, real blessed with a great computer now to where it won't lag. I can brush and just do anything really with the pictures and like even just throw them into Photoshop and throw them back in. Like, I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah.
But it's real, like,
It's
seamless now. And so doing that, and then, I don't know. Also, like, photos is it's not immediate, right? Like, there's a process with it.
Mm-hmm.
Just like video. There's a process and they're very different. People think like kind of similar. But kind of dumbing down the process for me. Like, cause a new system I'm doing, right? I'll take photos, send the raws, get a specific number, get them back, and then have like a specific goal. It helps me power through it. And it almost becomes more enjoyable rather than like broadly saying, I need to eat better. I need to like be more healthy. If you actually kind of have like a way of doing it, it
like
doesn't seem as overwhelming.
more specific and more, yeah.
Then you kind of dumb it down and it becomes more enjoyable. But dude, like it kind of depends on the day, because sometimes I'm like, man, I really want to make a film. Like I have video concepts in my head. I'm like, I want to do that, and I love throwing the cinematic bars on it and making it look crazy, because video is something that not a lot of people can really do right, or at least like high quality.
I'd agree.
And it's something I kind of take pride in. Like, I'm not like the most experienced, and I don't have the best gear. I have great gear, but I don't have the best gear in the world. But I understand the science behind everything, and end result, it's dope. So I don't know, man. Kind of at the end of the day, photos is like a little bit ahead,
A little closer to your heart.
and I have more work with that too. Like I have a bigger portfolio with it.
Yeah, you do.
But yeah, bro, like, and the interaction's a little bit more, I guess you could say like up my alley, because it's chill.
Mm-hmm.
You just hang out with people and take photos, and, like there's a misconception that it's like, photo shoot, it's a big deal. Like photo shoot is important. You got to get ready for it. It's kind of, you build up to it. It's an important day. But at the end of the day, like during the shoot, you're just talking, you're hanging out. The only time they're not talking is when they're smiling, and then you reposition them,
At least for the good photographers, right? That's what a shoot should feel like.
Yeah, you should not feel super pressured during. It should be like like build up, and then it's really fun and really chill, and then you get even more excited when you get the photos. Yeah, that's like my goal.
Yeah, well, coming from, because I'm a photographer too, and not near as experienced as you, and oddly enough, like definitely haven't done as many portraits as you, just people. I've done it randomly, was a real estate photographer for a full year plus. That was kind of I never thought I would do that. It was kind of crazy, but
something I know nothing about.
Yeah, but just don't try to, don't disrespect me on that, okay? But I know the process. I've had portrait shoots before with people, and it's a little nerve wracking, especially when you're like new. As a photographer, this is a photographer's point of view. It's like you really have to know like everything. You have to know everything. You have to know the poses. You have to know how to like lighten the mood to make somebody feel more comfortable. You have to know how to talk to them just to be a kind person. And then you have to know your settings on your camera. Like if it's a cloudy day, you have to know what to put. If it's a sunny day, you have to know what to put. If you're, if there's a harsh light, you have to either know to change the angle or, angles too, like poses. It's a lot that goes into it, man. So it's.
Well, because, bro, like, think of like a restaurant. You have someone taking the order. You have somebody cooking the order, getting the food ready. Someone probably taking it to, like this is, I imagine like Chick-fil-A, right? You have somebody greeting you. And then people are running around, placing stuff, making sure everything's like in the right order. And then you have somebody actually cooking all the stuff. And then you have the people like interacting. And you have people working drive-through. Like that's a photographer. Everything is within that. You have to talk to the client, book the client, make sure they're comfortable, answer their questions before the shoot. What do I wear? Kind of guide them. Then you get there, and then it really starts because you have to greet them, let them know, help them feel comfortable. All the while behind the curtain, you're like
cooking the food.
I gotta make sure that this food is good. Like I gotta make sure I know even how to cook it. Right. And then it even extends past that because
chewing the food
like a bird, feeding it to the client. No, bro. Like, but you get what I'm saying. Like,
I do.
You wear a lot of hats.
You do. And you literally wear all the hats except for this person that's in the picture. Even sometimes that, because you have to like show an example with poses and smiles. And
but
stuff.
What helps is having people come with, right? Whether it's like an assistant on your end or a friend on their end. And that's something I would tell anybody that is like either getting a photo shoot done or taking a photo shoot. Yeah. So like a creative that is like looking to do more portraits or someone that is like real nervous about their shoot. Because when you have a guest, and this is certain photographers, right? I would say like make sure your subjects have guests with them on like because Millie, some people don't because I don't think Millie likes that. Yeah. I do. Like
it's just preference.
Because I'm like, come, you can help carry the stuff, like carry water for them because, you give them a water, make sure they're comfortable. And then they kind of help lighten the mood because it's not just like you and someone else and you're holding up this. Oh, shit. You're holding up this box in front of
We got to start over.
No.
You're holding up the box. Yeah, the camera.
You're holding up this like intimidating piece of equipment in front of their face and they're nervous and their friend can help them feel more calm. Yeah. But at the same time, it's helping you feel calm because they're feeling calm. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it kind of lightens your load a little bit.
Yeah. Do you, whenever you go out to, okay, so it's different for portraits because it depends on where you are. Like, let's say you're a Georgetown photographer. You always take your clients to Georgetown. So you know the area, you kind of know the spots. Of course, there's going to be small changes in like poses or, of course, the weather. You can't always control the weather. Yeah. But for the most part, you know where you're going to shoot and you know what the end goal is going to look like. You know what it's going to look like at the end. But when it comes to like your light trails, so like long exposures, what do you envision any of the photos? Because you have a ton of photos in that category too. So do you have any sort of idea what it's going to look like before you get there or while you're at so let's say you go to downtown Georgetown, you never shot long exposures there before. What do you have any idea of like what you're looking for or like at the end of the day what you're going to come out with? Or is it just kind of like random when you get there? You're like, oh, I think that looks cool. I think I can make something out of that. And then you try it.
I think like 75% of the time I know what's up. Like I know where I'm going towards. I'll drop a pin. Or like when we used to live far, I tried to drop 2 or 3 pins and know like where I'm going and know the landmark that I'm doing or going to shoot. So 75% of the time I kind of know. Like, okay, I want to get this shot. Like for instance, when I took a picture of Laced and Found Jay's Laced and Found.
Go ahead and shout them out.
Yeah, Laced and Found, dopest dopest graffiti artist in Austin. Probably I think in Texas. Because I just, I have that connection with him, do work with him. Laced and Found graffiti murals. Him and Ricky kill it. Jay and Ricky. But I went and shot Jay's mural of Ice Cube in East Austin. And I'm like, I kind of have an idea, right? Like I want to get close up to it. And I want to make sure and show the mural off. But at night, right, like it's kind of hard to, like if I want to just show the mural, I just go in the day.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, okay, I see that it's on this wall, or I look at, this is actually the story behind that. I'm like, I look at the gas station on Google Maps because he sends me the address. I'm like, okay, based on just like common sense, it's probably on this wall.
Right.
So it's probably facing this way and there's a street right there. Cool. So in my head, I'm like, wall here, camera either here, here, or here with, cars, hopefully kind of a busy street. And it was on a night where it wasn't that busy, right? So I only had I didn't want to stay there for hours, right? So I probably stayed for 30 minutes and I had 8 opportunities to get it because cars are coming by and then it's dead. Cars are coming by and then it's dead. And so that one I had it in my head, I'm like, I want to have it and I want light trails to be under it. I don't want it to cut it off.
Yeah.
And then I just got different angles and then chose the best one. So 75% of the time, I would say that I do have an understanding of what I want to get. The other 25% of the time, I'm like, let's just go get it.
Right.
Let's just go take photos. Like the open sign.
Yeah.
That was just, I needed that therapy. And I was like, I'm just going to go down there. I'm just going to go down to Belton, put in my AirPods and try to get some cool stuff.
Yeah.
And had no and that was kind of more of a challenge because, sometimes I just needed to get out. I thought I was just going to get a bunch of just nothing. And I just needed to kind of walk around and just kind of get my mind off school or whatever I was going through at the time. And then just kind of challenging let's see if I get something downtown Belton, it's dead. No one's ever there, past 9.
Right.
And then ended up getting
that cool, one of your favorite shots.
I'd say, yeah, 3 shots that 4 kind of 4 that, are really dope. And then my favorite shot ever. So 75% of the time I would say I know what I'm getting. It's just not like a portrait shoot, but the goal. And then the other times it's, let's see what kind of shit I can get. Let's see what kind of, if I can get some crazy art pieces and just be creative.
Right.
Yeah.
See, that's cool. I don't do that. Depending on the shoot for the most part, I'd say most of my photos, besides the one on the wall right there, and I think a handful of others, usually I go and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to get out of my head. I don't want to go in with any expectations. Mm-hmm. I do want to come back with photos to edit and to get and to keep that I like, but I don't have any expectations. I'm not okay, I'm looking for this specific shot and I have to get it. I'm let's see what's around and let's work with what we have and then we'll see what happens. Cause sometimes I've come back empty handed and of course I'm not as experienced as you. It's tough. It is tough,
I hate that.
Especially when it's dark and then you're looking at this little screen, right? You wait, depending on how dark it is or where you are, you wait 30 seconds, close to 30 seconds or a little bit less, whatever you're doing, your settings are, but you're waiting all this time and it's 30 seconds doesn't seem like much, but when you're waiting 30 seconds for one photo, it's a lot because usually it's and you could take 30 photos, you
have more chances at it.
Exactly. So I don't ever go with a thought that I'm going to get this certain photo because it's just not how my brain works. I don't think okay.
Yeah.
It's definitely not in photos. Video, it's a little different. Because I'm okay, I kind of have an idea of what I want this in goal to look like. And so the shots that I'm going to need are going to look something like this. It's a little more structured, but a little still not 100% there's not an in goal picture to my head already.
Yeah. But dude, if I'm being honest, even when I'm even when I'm just going out there, doing this for no goal, no picture in my head, there are still images in my head. I'm if I could find something like this, because bro, I see it in frames.
Yeah.
I see, if I can see you, not you know, like literally, but in my head, I can see how it would look if I was taking a portrait of you, like right now. Like I know that this would be blurry, and I know that this would look kind of cool. And if I scoot more this way, it's gonna look, you know, it's gonna be bokeh out, and it's gonna be a little objects. It's gonna be a lot of depth.
That's
and
cool.
I can be able to. I know I want to cut like the thermostat off over there on this left frame. Like I see in that all the time.
Yeah.
And so like that's one of the dopest pictures I've seen, and I think it's one of your best ones. I mean, it's, and so I just had a shoot there, right? We went downtown Austin, and I know that like, I knew the shot that I wanted to get before I even like went down. I'm like, I need a shot with that in the left, and I need her full body, like in the middle of the street kind of. And I can see it, and then it's a matter of figuring it out and placing and saying, okay, now we need to scoot a little more this way.
Mm-hmm.
Let's wait for these cars to go by, jump in the street, bam. And then I get it. But then in result, you end up getting like 5 that you didn't see in your head before. But I would say every shoot with a person, I'm like, there's at least 1 or 2 that I know that I'm going to get.
Right. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I don't see that 35 probably helps you out a ton, because it is harder to do that when you have a 50, because you only have so much to work with in terms of like what's in the frame, in the background. Yeah, like with that 35, you got that girl, her whole body in the frame, plus that whole Paramount sign. Yeah, which was it was cool. It was a good picture.
I read a cool like a review, or I didn't read it. I read a comment that kind of summarized it. Yeah, you said 35 shows more of the 35 shows environment, 50 millimeter shows like an environment and person equally, and 85 is just about the person. And so I was like, and that was after I had bought this.
The 35 is I think it works perfectly for you.
It's harder though, because you're challenged more, because you're
working with more.
Yeah, you have to show more, and so you can't really show a bunch of
boring. It can't be boring.
You got to be more creative, and that's, I mean, at the end of the day, like that's the goal. To be the most creative photographer. A lot of people can throw on an 85 and get a cool shot of somebody's
face, right?
But you push yourself and like have to make sure the fit looks good, make sure it's flattering, make sure the way they're standing is flattering. Yeah, that's what helps with good models too. But you know, it takes somebody that just wants to be confident. You have to put that hat on and take over. But dude, it's been cool seeing you like come from a Rebel T6. And not really like even having a camera bag for it. Yeah. And like the first shoot we had, bro, like different person. You know, we had shaved heads and everything. And
true that, bro. I came from the mud. I came straight from the mud, bro.
And seeing like, you know, seeing the setup, like it's really cool. Like it's, you know, it's a trajectory that is only going upward. And so it's dope. Like it's easy to kind of see it as like, okay, got one more thing, and now we're here. But like kind of stopping and looking back, it's like you've come a long way. And so have I.
Well, not as far as me, but yeah.
But it's cool, bro. Like it's, I don't know, but it's something that isn't surprising to me. I think that's probably why I don't like stop in my tracks every time like something's made. It's because like it doesn't surprise me. Right. Because like
I feel like that too. I feel like every time either of us, even my brother included, we do a good, we create a piece of content that is good, right? Yeah. I feel like it's expected of us, because we're like, everything we do just improves every time. And so if it didn't improve, then what are we doing? Hey, we're going to take a quick break real quick. Right on. Yeah, bro. But I've improved way more than you. That's where we left off kind of, but yeah. That's not true, bro. Just shut up.
Photography is subjective, bro. But videos are facts.
Videos are factual. Just like jokes, right?
I guess.
That was a sharp whistle. What is your okay, something I don't know about. So
you don't know you know everything about me, bro.
That's not true, bro. What's your middle name?
Come on, man. You know I don't like my middle name, bro.
Well, do you have one?
Unknown.
Let's talk about that. Okay. What is that?
What is unknown?
Why did you just say that?
Okay, so as you know, as some of the listeners may know, I started freelancing around September, and branded myself as Danny Martinez Media, right? Very straightforward. Who is he and what does he do? But it just I wasn't passionate about it. Like, the logo's dope. Paige did a great job with branding that. But it's just not passionate. Like, at the end of the day, it's like, oh, like Danny Martinez Media. And I'm not hating on anybody that is, their name Media. But I'm just not passionate. I don't see it's very creative. Like,
Okay.
Aaron Villa Media fits, but it doesn't really I wouldn't say that it's intriguing, right?
Right.
Because you're asking me. And will I tell you? Yeah. Here
I
it
didn't
is.
ask you.
But no, dude, like, so what it is,
I think you actually told me it did. It was intriguing.
I was intrigued by it because
Well, okay, pause real quick. Dude, first of all, if you're going to be a media company,
yeah,
you can't really beat around the bush with that. You could say productions,
yeah,
but then that entails a lot more than just media.
yeah,
Or you could say, Aaron Villa photos and video, right? That sounds worse than media. Media is overplayed, overused, but it's like really straightforward to the point whenever it comes down to like getting a wedding or like, but that's the freelance side of it. Even the business side of it. That's not the passion side of it. Like, cause first of all, if you're doing this, the chances of you having the passion of doing photos and video are high, right? Like you're not gonna enter the media world and not love photos or videos.
yeah.
At least enough to do it to make money, right? So like,
It just felt like it put me in a box though,
right? Okay.
because I want to end up having clothes and selling T-shirts and selling prints and doing podcasts and doing creative workshops, and it's kind of like the passion. I want to help people, right? So all this like different things, I'm like, well, Daniel Martinez Media just seems like a means to an end, make money doing photo and video. And I'm like, well, and I just wasn't passionate about it, dude. Wasn't pushing it. When people would ask, like, it seemed like I'm trying to push a company rather than kind of just push like a freelance operation that can kind of adapt to anything. And so then that's when the unknowns, like that seed got planted in my head, was when we were trying to, trying anything to get started and doing our thing, before this was an idea, before, my rebrand, and even before I was even kind of doing work in the end of 2020.
Yeah.
And so, because now that I'm trying to brand myself as Danny Unknown, so hopefully, 2 years down the line, people know me as, of course, Daniel Martinez, Danny from UMHB, whatever. People will know me as Danny Unknown, like the photo dude that comes and kills the scene, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that's what I want to end up doing. Kind of the inspiration behind that is, of course, the unknowns is a passion of mine that I'm building up, branding for, and ideas and kind of a structure for a creative group,
Right.
to just kind of get rid of the tension, I think, that exists within different photo and video people, like a competition, right? Because at the end of the day, like, we have each other to relate with, and that's about it.
Right.
No one really understands the shit we go through, except people that go through that same shit. Like, you understand that feeling of a photo shoot that you've been wanting, and then it's the day of the photo shoot and you feel weirdly nervous about it.
Yeah.
And you kind of don't want to do it. And if they reschedule, you're kind of okay with that. Why is that, right? You can't break that down with someone that doesn't ever experience that.
Right.
Because then they're like, well, is this right for you? When it is, right?
Right.
And so there's different things like that I think that we understand, but because of competition, we end up being on islands. And then you get photographers that become egotistical and all about themselves and super cynical about their product, and they can't take any criticism and they don't want to teach.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have people, more so in my boat and kind of more the passion behind it, who feel like their work is inadequate. They feel like they suck. No one's hitting them up. And then you get depressed, and then you're struggling, and then you're sad, and then you don't want to do any shoots. And why is that? And then you feel isolated because no other creatives. Everyone's trying to operate independently. When I don't think that has to be that way, right? Like, I push, like, Kimon is in Austin, right? So I push his work all the time. He's in my area, kind of. Like, we're far enough to where, like, geographically we're not in the same, like, radius. But he's shooting kind of people that I want to shoot, and I want to get into that game. But just because I want to get into it doesn't mean I have to have this competition with them. We could still play COD. We could still be friends. He could still be in some of my shoots and act as an actor and a model, and I can still push his work because someone may want his work instead of mine, and that's okay, right? Art is subjective. That's okay. If we're like pushing like electrical services, that's a little different. But this is like, even if I reach a clientele, they may not like my work.
Yeah.
And so then that person doesn't have a photographer, when in reality, like the goal behind our craft should be to actually make dope products for people, whether that's you or me or Kimon or Millie or anybody. Like that should be the goal.
Right.
Right. And so that's like the passion behind the Unknowns, is to link these people. And the name Unknown, Danny Unknown, is because when you pick up a camera, you sacrifice that kind of chance of being known, right? You're behind it. You're making other people known. If I take a picture of you, I'm taking a picture of you, pushing it out. And if you have a business, I'm telling the story of you.
Right. It's like you post a picture on your social media. The person in the picture is the one getting the likes, not the person who took it, right? That's like the whole premise. Like,
that's what it is.
Yeah, because think about how many people you've taken pictures of that have posted that photo you took of them.
Yeah.
And like, sure, they tag you, but at the end of the day, it's about the person in the photo, not behind the camera.
Yep.
So your platform is to not necessarily reverse those roles, but to put more of a spotlight on the people behind the camera.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I think it's very different from like vloggers and I guess YouTube creatives.
Yeah.
Like these people, you know, are dope and talented and they're very good, but people know Peter McKinnon because of him, right? Like, I know his work and his work is dope and it looks dope, but like he's the brand. And Danny Unknown isn't, I don't want to become famous with that. I want to be referred to as that and branded as that, because I want people to know the Unknowns, and I want them to know that like Danny Unknown, I'm branded like equally with that, and I want to be on the same page. Just because, bro, like I'm kind of okay with not being in front. I'm actually very uncomfortable in front of the camera. I don't like it. And so it's kind of like easy for me to be unknown in that sense. And then, yeah, like that's the whole idea behind it. I want to make a creative group, the Unknowns, that helps each other, but then at the end of the day helps nonprofits and helps youth, right? Helps the photographer or the kid that wants to be a photographer in high school, and he only has his phone and he thinks he can't do it. And then you have someone like Kimon taking photos on their phone and could put up a workshop on how to edit those to be up to par and take, you know, cause like that's just stuff people don't think about. I didn't think about it. I thought I had to get a $3,000 camera right off the bat, when in reality, the camera I started with that got me into this game was like $150 on eBay. I had no clue. I only knew that because of Unk. And there's how many other people are out there that have no clue that may be a creative group that have influence, right? That's Me, true. You, Kimon, all these people can like educate and let people know. Like you don't need a bunch of stuff. Yeah. You're probably better off if you don't have a bunch of stuff at the start. How many people do we know that get into like a certain craft, buy all the best stuff, and then they're done with it 4 months later, rather than someone starting with nothing and they end up making it?
And that's advice I give my brother. Like he's trying to get into the camera game and he's doing great. And he's got this camera he saved up for. It's probably less than $1,000 for his camera. I think his whole camera kit with all the lenses and stuff is probably a little over $1,000, right? And so he wants to get things that he knows can help him improve. And so because I've already gone through that, right? I have had a bad camera and I thought I needed a better one to be better, but that's not even the case. Like whenever I got this more expensive camera, I was like, man, this is really cool. But now that I know like how to use it, how to use a camera in general, I probably could have done way better with the camera I had. Yeah. And it's like, you know, you need to learn to the max how to use the equipment you have before you even think about getting a new whatever. Unless it's like, so a goal of mine for 2020 starting in like September-ish was to not get any more gear unless I came in contact or encountered a situation where I needed a specific piece of equipment more than like once or twice, right? Like if say I had to rent some sort of lens or something. Yeah. Well, if you rent it twice, you might as well buy it depending on how expensive it is, right? Yeah. Like, cause you're just going to spend half that anyways on it, and then you'll hopefully make it back. And so my advice is to not do that because it's not always necessary. Like if you can rent for one shoot, then do it because you may not need it for the next. Or like just if you could fully do everything and you've maxed out your potential and the capacity you use your own gear with, then it's like there's no point in getting a new one until you're at that point, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I agree, 100%, bro. Like, yeah. We'd be better off if we didn't have so many options.
Yeah, and that's Go ahead.
I was just gonna say like that.
Yeah, me too.
That's something I think is like applies to a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Like how many diets are there? How many? There's so many options. Diets, workouts. If you want to get healthy, right? Like I work at HEB part time, right? So I look at how many options there are. There's so many options in the world for us to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're working on something and it gets tough, you think if you have another option to add something in or just change out entirely, you think that's going to help you get you better, get through something better, easier. You do, a certain keto diet. Well, maybe that won't work. That's hard. So, I think I can do the carnivore. That makes sense. Oh, carnivore diet is harder. I think I can do, a paleo. Oh, maybe I should. And it's just, you have a lot of options, which is good because a lot of people can, go to different areas. But speaking like specifically with cameras, like as you know, bro, when we were shopping for new cameras, when we kind of maxed out, or you needed a camera, you didn't even have one because you sold yours.
Yeah.
And for me, I knew I needed something that I don't know, dude. I I just wanted a new one because that one I just didn't like it. I did
want a new one.
I didn't enjoy it, which is important too. Like you should like your gear. You shouldn't just be stuck with bad gear because you think that you have to hustle that way. But there's a weird.
I mean, if you can afford to get a new one and you don't like what you have, then sure. But
it's not gonna make you better. Yeah,
that's not the difference maker. It's honestly the consistency and the reps you put in with it, and
because there's a video full-time filmmaker. You know that dude?
Yeah.
He has like his old brand, and he has people that work for him. And he had this, a vet in the game use like a very basic camera, and then he had an intern use a red camera. It's like a $800 setup versus I think it was like $15,000. And who do you think won, bro? The veteran in the game did, just because he knows more knowledge, right? He knows how to color grade better. He knows how to shoot better. He knows whatever.
Right.
And so at the end of the day, it is your reps. It's not your gear. The gear helps, but it's not. I don't think it's gonna like take you to the next level like you think it is.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just
a little off topic here, but what is your? I know all these things, bro.
Yeah,
we're roommates. Mm-hmm. We're part-time lovers. We're full-time roommates, and so I know everything there is to know about you. But I want to know what your fitness journey, I guess you could say. Let's start with quarantine. Let's start with the running, and then let's get into now, and then let's get into what you want to do in the future. So I'll kind of lead it into it, but I don't remember when it was. Was it April? March? Sometime during the beginning of the pandemic, we were working out with kettlebells only because we didn't have any other equipment to use. Our gym in our apartment was shut down, and even our gym in our apartment didn't have any weights really, just machines. So we were just strictly kettlebell, right? Yeah. We were thick boys, not really 100% muscle. I would say we were like 40%. We were like thick and not the best way, I would say. And then we started running a mile and a half. Well, it was 1.4. It was 1.4, 1 mile in a fourth of a mile, right? No, no, that's not right.
1.4. It was like 1.4.
1.4 miles.
Yeah.
Okay, so a little under a mile and a half. And
it's so dumb, bro.
Well, it was. I mean, it wasn't because we had a start point, we had an end point that was a perfect lap. Like it was a perfect lap, right? We'd run up a huge hill, run around the church, run down the hill, and end right where we started. And then your dumb friend Adrian started coming over. Now my friend too, great guy. He's a runner. He's a beast. He's a beast. He's done I think 6 or 7 marathons. He's done
7 official.
7 official marathons. He's done one, I think, half Ironman, which is insane.
No, I think he's done multiple half Ironmans, I believe.
Okay, multiple Ironmans, half Ironmans. So he's a triathlete, and he's just a killer in the endurance sports.
Yeah.
And so he slowly got us into running.
He said, "Why don't you guys just run a little further down? It'll be 1.5 miles."
Yeah. Yep.
He said, I don't know.
We were like, I guess that would. Okay, yeah, that's like it would make it makes sense. 1.5. Nobody ever runs 1.4 miles. You know.
Hey, what's your 1.4 time? Weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's running's usually in halves or fulls. Like a half a mile or a full mile, right? It's like, I guess it's unless it's a marathon.
Unless you're doing like the metric system.
Yeah, but anyways,
Like a 5K.
So we started training. We signed up for this marathon because he was like, "Hey," he was like, "Hey, he was like, listen, guys, you can do it. Just sign up." And we were like, "Okay, sure. We got nothing else going on. We literally only go to work and back, and then play Call of Duty." And
remember what started it though? It was overcast and it was kind of raining that day.
Yeah.
And we were like, "Dude, let's go crazy. Let's try to do 3 miles."
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And then we did 3. We were like, "Wow, that
started raining too, right?"
That felt awesome. That was good. That was a good run. Then I remember you went to Dallas with you had a job up there in Dallas, and then Adrian stayed for like 3 or 4 more days. I think he felt more like willing to stay because it wasn't like a cramped apartment,
right?
And then every morning he would be like, let's run. So I'm like, okay, cool, let's run. Ran like 2 miles, and he would go run 3 more after, and I'd be kind of annoyed at that. And then we ran 3, and then it built up to 4. And then when you came back, I'm like, bro, you got to run with us. Like, running with Adrian's cool. He talks, blah, blah, blah. And then that's kind of what got us going. I think the day we decided to run it was, remember my PS4 broke, and then we went and got a...
Was that the day?
Yeah, because we drove to Cedar Park.
No,
we couldn't find him.
It wasn't the day of, because Adrian wasn't there the day we signed up. We signed up on our computers. It was like at night.
It must have been that day we were talking about that we decided we were gonna.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Huh? Anyway, we signed up. And then what happened from there?
Adrian put us on a training program. Essentially, one day I guess he took in school. He took a running class at school. They had a training marathon running program. And so we did that. And, it's like a consistent amount of steady miles during the week at different paces. You have your days where you push, the days where you're at your normal race speed. And then days you would go slower than that. And then days you would go like intervals, or you'd go fast, slow. And then on every single weekend, it was a long run. And so the long runs increased from 5 miles. And I think the very last long run that was on there was a 20-mile run. And so every week, like, we would go from doing, anywhere from 2 to 3 miles during the week to doing 4 to 8 during the week, and that 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 on the weekends. Yeah. So it was tough. And so, what did you liked it? Obviously you loved it.
Yeah, I was going through, I wouldn't say like a horrible time, but when we started running, it didn't start with like, I want to run a marathon. It more so was like, I just need mental clarity. I'm not creating. This one, we lived in Marble Falls, so I wasn't taking photos of people. I wasn't really pushing that creativity and doing that. I was playing Call of Duty and working. And I just needed like a mental break, because kettlebells are cool. I love them still. And you're pushing through, you're listening to music, and you're just kind of gritting it out. There's really not much thinking time. And I remember running and being like, running without music, especially with Adrian, because we started running with music and we'd run. And I even, got the watch I could have music on it. And then running with Adrian, you just talk about life. And then when Adrian couldn't be there, or you couldn't be there and we couldn't run, you're just thinking through. And you're almost like having to be very honest with yourself during those thoughts, because you're like worrying about your breath, you're worrying about your stride. But then once you get in that zone, your fitness level gets to a certain point. And that wasn't, of course, like week 2. That was probably week 5, where you're not really worrying about these things as much, They come in waves. And just having to think about it. And so I enjoyed it because it was just a lot of thinking. And then with every increase in the long run, it was like a level up, like a video game, like next level gets harder. So how are you going to think through this? You have to prepare. And there's times where you fail and you get your ass kicked and you get humbled. And then that next week you're like, okay, kick it in. Like you start now. It starts on Monday where how you're going to run on Saturday. And just kind of that challenge of, because bro, like you ran with us, anybody that's ran a marathon, if you don't run Monday through Thursday, you try to run Saturday, you're going to get your ass beat down. Like, and even if you run Monday through Thursday and you run Saturday, you still might get like beat up and you might suck.
Yeah, there's really no guarantee, right?
Yeah, but if you do focus in on Monday through, it's like the most accountability because you can take a day off, right? If your body tells you and you're hurting and whatnot, but you have to really be sharp all of the time, and it that's probably the healthiest lifestyle I've lived is like, you're carbing up and I was trying to eat more food because I'm dropping weight and losing muscle and whatnot. But, it's like if we're running in the morning and we're up playing COD, I can't just have a whole bag of Cheetos because I know that I'm going to be affected by that in the morning. And I found that a struggle outside of running. Like now I don't have that accountability as much until, coming weeks will start up again. But, dude, I loved it. Like it was looking back, the training was probably like the best part because all the laughs, like the conversations, like me, you, and Adrian would have like before Saturdays, during the runs, after the Whole Foods trips, like the HEB, the chocolate milk, being able to drink 3 Gatorades and not feeling like you're overindulging, like kind of that process of having to fuel up, making sandwiches at 4 a.m. and eating them because it's going to affect you on your run. Like all that preparation is super fun. Bummer it wasn't a real race. Bummer.
Yeah, that was a bummer. It's annoying. COVID shut it down. And we know a guy, Ryan, who signed up for like 4 or 5 marathons this year alone, and they all got canceled. Yeah. Which is a bummer. But, I mean, eventually I hopefully get a chance to talk to him on here.
Yeah.
But he
He'll show me up because his stats are crazy.
His stats are crazy. And he said this is the fastest he's ever been in terms of running in marathon.
He's a beast.
Yeah. It's crazy. And he's got 2 kids, like full-time job, 2 kids. That's like, because Adrian's got a full-time job, no kids, but his full-time job doesn't require him being anywhere at any time. He's, a contractor, so he can do whatever. He can stay the night here a full week and then still be, on track to make his full salary or whatever he does.
You remember what Ryan said about his runs? He's like, I tell Lindsay, his wife, it's like I tell, Lindsay lets me run, but I'll be there for, when the kids get up.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, kids get up early.
Kids get up really early. Like,
so he's running at like 4 a.m., 10 miles a day, like just stupid amounts and
savage.
But
he's straight savage mode, bro.
Yeah, bro. To kind of keep along with your question though, like race got canceled. Me and Adrian decided to do it. You didn't decide to do it.
I dropped.
But one day you're gonna end up doing one. I know, a real race. But me and Adrian ran it around here, and then since then I haven't really ran much. Probably ran like 4 times, right? So did the unofficial race here in Georgetown. Was a journey. Bunch of stuff happened during that.
Like what? What do you mean?
It's hard. Like that's the race itself. Like I kind of gloss over it because the bulk of what's important to me and like what I learned was like the training. But the day of, like, is kind of fun to think back, but it's not huge in my mind. I think honestly, it not being a real race has a big thing to do with it. Because I think, how it was supposed to be San Antonio, we go book a hotel, we prep, we do all this, our family, or at least my family sees it. Your family probably would have came down. We have lunch, we have, a big meal, we come home and we just kind of talk about it. We have photos and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Everything.
Like my mom did a great job of like making, me and Adrian feel supported and celebrated. But like, at the end of the day, I'm running on the side of the road and it's not a race. It's not a real race. And so that was kind of a mental thing. Like after the fact, now I'm thinking about that. But during, bro, like it was 36 degrees when it started. And my hands couldn't get warm, something I'd never encountered before. Hands couldn't get warm, right? And you know this, you got to run with a bottle. We run with a bottle, so every 5 miles we refill so that we don't cramp up in our legs. So that's my goal. Can't do that because my hands are numb. I can't refill my bottle, spill water on my hands. My hands are in so much pain, like I need to focus on getting that right. With that, sacrifice the water. And then I end up having to take a dump at like mile 13. Never happened before, right? We've ran 18, 20-mile races. Never.
So you had to ditch your underwear, right?
Dude, no, man. I had to just clench, bro, like the whole time. And every, couple miles.
That's what else are you supposed to do?
Real life,
bro.
That's
happened to me before, but not in a run like that long, I'd say.
Bro, I've never had to do that. So my hands are frozen, like hurting, not numb. I wish they were numb, but they weren't. Having to take a dump from mile 13 on, and then mile 21 cramp up. So it's like 3 things I've encountered. 2 I've never encountered. 1 I have, cramping, right? And that's a beast of its own. That all happened at the same time. And so that race was just like more so showing like, there's a whole thing I talk about just how great the body is and how we can persevere and whatnot. But dude, yeah, like it's a bummer it wasn't a real race. It was fun and I'm glad I did it and I'm proud that I did it. But it's not like something that like I know there's more. That's why San Diego's the thing. Like that's why I'm trying to get back in that mindset of June, San Diego. Hopefully, bro. Like hopefully COVID doesn't shut that down. We'll see. But yeah, bro. Like the fitness journey with that, bulk of it was during the training. The bulk of that like growth, which I'm happy you got, because that's like you missed the ribbon at the like the bow at the on top of the present, but you got most of it. You got like 99% of it.
We're back again.
Right on.
Cool.
I kind of leaned in for that one.
So yeah, I stopped at the 20. I did the 20-mile run, and then after we found out the marathon was canceled, it was I was home.
It's on Thursday.
I was home. I was in Granbury when No. We were moving your grandparents here.
We were pulling, yeah.
We were moving your grandparents
about to have lunch.
Georgetown, yeah. I figured that out, and it was a weird emotional like type of email, because this company we did they're cool. They do a lot of stuff for races and they put on a lot of events, but they're not good at communication. Like we had no idea what was happening up until. So we signed up. We didn't hear anything back from them until the race got canceled. What was it? 3 weeks before? I think it was
3 weeks before.
3 weeks before the marathon. So I didn't run it. You guys still ran it. But, dude, so I don't know about you, but like now I physically feel like I'm in the best shape I've ever been in my life. Like by far. I weigh like, I know I don't really care about my weight, but this is the most I've ever weighed in my life, like consistently. I weigh like 198 to 200 pounds. It depends. Morning it's like 197, 198, and then after eating it's like 200. But I'm like, I feel good and I feel like I look good. Like you look at yourself in the mirror, you just you know yourself, and you know when you look better, and you know when you look worse. And so I'm like, dude, I feel freaking good.
That's good.
Like, and it's because we've been going to these heated classes, man. We go to this place called True Fusion Fitness in South Austin. And it's like a 40-minute drive, but it's worth it because it's like it's high intensity, it's Pilates, it's yoga, it's kettlebells.
Core, dude. Everything about core is strong.
And it's super core. Like everything you're doing is every single type of workout, even the yoga has a little bit of core interweaved into it. And so, dude, I don't know why, but I just feel like this is the strongest and this is the best I've ever looked and
connected
felt.
Too. Like this is getting kind of more deep, but like if you're not, because like for running, I enjoyed it, right? And you didn't enjoy it as much as I did.
Yeah.
So if you're not enjoying the thing you're doing, you're probably not going to feel this good after you did the thing you didn't like doing.
Right.
Like,
that makes sense.
you enjoy,
Namaste.
like, say that you do a photo shoot, right? Going back on the creative side, like, you do a photo shoot you don't like doing. The results could be badass and be like so dope, and people could celebrate it, but you don't feel good about them because you didn't enjoy it. Like, you didn't enjoy that process, and that's kind of what I'm starting to see now. Because this stuff is fun. Like, True Fusion's fun. People, you know, even though people are a little, you know, to themselves right now because of COVID, as we should be, right? We shouldn't be talking and trying to interact with people too much.
I had you tested before you came on, so that's good.
Yeah. Okay. And it's like a team atmosphere in a sense, and you can look to the left and see, you know, a woman that is lifting the same amount of weight as you, right? And you're like, dang, she's a badass. Like, I need to go a little harder, and you kind of get inspired by people around you, versus, you know, running is a lot more internal.
Yeah.
And, you know, if I'm with you, then that's like, maybe we can feed off each other, but at a certain point it gets, you know, long. When you're doing it for, you know, you've surpassed the 2-hour mark, you're like, okay, I really don't care how he's doing anymore. I'm dying, or I'm hurting, my knee hurts, my leg hurts, whatever.
Yeah.
It's different. But dude, like, I mean, at first when you backed out of the marathon, I was bummed. I was pissed off. Like,
it got canceled. I didn't back out.
Okay. But. Well, when you didn't commit to running the unofficial one,
yeah,
I was like annoyed because I'm like, we did all this training, bro. You stabbed me in the back with this, and that. Not seeing past that of like, you don't even enjoy it. You know, I think I know you could have done it, but you didn't. And so what do you do with that? And now, dude, like, I'm happier for you in this season because I hear you playing a podcast or playing music, and I know you're having a fun time in there and you're doing what makes you happy.
Yeah,
and
I love it.
I think that is a big deal, and like why you probably feel better.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. I mean, I'd say a little bit, but I'd say also, besides, like, I remember one run we did where it was one of the first or second runs when we went through Austin. Like, the trail wasn't long enough for us anymore. The 10-mile lap that the trail wasn't long enough. And so we went through Austin, through the city. This was at like 6 a.m., 5:30, 6 a.m. and cold, you know, concrete. You're going up hills, you're going down hills. It's just all over the place. You're stopping because of traffic. Mm-hmm. And that day, the stop and goes, my knee was, I've never felt a pain like that in my body. And like, of course, I finished that run, but like, I just was like, I couldn't, like, it was, I don't know how I could have prevented that, you know, like, and I felt like I was running with good form because I was studying, because prior to that, my knee was kind of hurting. And so I researched it, like how to run with proper form. How do I stretch? How do I get rid of this pain in my knee? Yeah. And so like, it was just killing me. And like, it was one of those things where like, obviously like you could push through it. I did, but like, I didn't want to put that much stress on my body for, I guess, an unofficial race at the end of the day, you know? And like, plus on top of that, I didn't enjoy it as much as I do now. Like you always say you feel like a savage when you run, and you try to turn on that savage mode. Uh-huh. I feel like a savage when I'm like lifting weights, bro. Like like it's just the strength about it. Like the force, the brutal force that you have to use and all this energy you're expending is like, it's just crazy. Like at the end of our longest and sometimes our best runs, I wouldn't feel satisfied. I was like that's cool, but you know, I didn't waste any time. It wasn't any time wasted, but it was like, okay, that's an hour 45 of my day that I'm not getting back, you know, and I don't really feel like strong because of it. I feel like I felt a little skinny. I don't even think I lost that much weight running. Mm-hmm. I lost muscle, but I didn't even lose that much weight because I wasn't, my nutrition wasn't where it needed to be. And so I wasn't like, I was losing weight because I wasn't working out. That was really the only reason. Yeah. And it had nothing to do with the running. It had everything to do with the running, but it wasn't like any sort of like, it wasn't a positive, you know, it was a negative thing, especially in my mind. Like my mind was like, I feel weak. I look weak. Do
you think you ever do one?
I think I'll do a half. I think I'll do I'm not sure if I'll do a half Ironman, but I'll do a half, I might do a half Ironman. I might do a half, Ironman or the one right below that. It's called the Olympic Ironman, where it's just a little bit below the half. Yeah. So I don't know, dude. I don't know. I would like to, but we'll see.
Man, do it.
Yeah.
But nah, you know where I stand on that. Like, I don't know, bro. It's cool though that you feel like a savage doing that. I think everybody has to find what they feel like a savage in, right? Like lifting it's cool to feel like strong and feel that sort of sense of like I'm pushing heavy things, and I can like a little bit, but it doesn't. When I guess it gets tough, that feeling doesn't like motivate me to jump into it. If that makes sense, it doesn't get me out of bed. You can say. Like I get there because it feels good and I like being, exercising that, and, I know it's good for me and this, but like the running, I'm like, I feel like it's more in tune with like how my life is and is going to be. Like it's tough and stuff's going to hurt and you're going to cramp up and have to take a dump halfway through a race, and there's no way for you to do that unless you stop, and then that's going to, so like for me, I struggle with like pushing through hard things. And that's just, if a photo's hard, it's hard for me to get through it. Because I'm like you almost wishing like, oh, like looking in the past, man, I wish I would have done this, like, and just like exposed it more or changed the white balance or whatever. Well, like that's not how life is, right? Mm-hmm. You have your products to do it. And so for me, when I'm running, I'm like, okay, I may have eaten, too much salsa the night before and I'm burping it up and I feel like crap, but how do you get through it? Because you can't go in the past, right? So push through it, figure out a way, throw up if you have to, burp it up, like, scream in the air, like whatever you got to do, like get through it. And for me, that's where I kind of find like a lesson in it, but I kind of find pride in that of, yeah, like I am a savage. Like I can get through this because like, even though the odds are against me, even though like it's almost like impossible for my legs to keep moving without cramping up and tensing up. Like I'm going to keep doing it and kind of give a middle finger to, this like made up thing in my head saying you can't do it. And that's like, I don't know, dude. I'm glad you have that. Like that's dope. I hope we cling on to it. I hope we keep, me running and you lifting. But at some point I do want to challenge myself and get through like a lifting program that is not just, an 8-week, get through something that is a long-term goal of hitting a certain percentage of muscle and body fat and whatever. And I think it's important for us to do that. So I think you'll do a marathon. I think it's something that's you signed up for it at one point and you're going to not be able to escape it. It's, we have a long life and you'll be able to do it. And I'll do it with you. And Adrian will probably do it with you too. But man, like, I think it's cool though that like I remember we had a run 5 miler after I think you had said you weren't going to run it, and we did a nice 5 mile run, and we were like, man, it's like frustrated. I was frustrated, and we were like, but we do know that we'll look back at it and be like, man, it taught us a bunch, and I see that happening. You know what I mean? We were like, you didn't run it for a certain reason, take care of your body and to find something you enjoy. And you're going to be able to teach me about that experience. And I'm going to be able to teach you about running the unofficial and teach you about the things that went bad. And I maybe shouldn't have done this and I should have done it this way. So like the wheels are turning with that. I think it's cool because we are experiencing different things. Like we split and now we're learning independent things and going to be able to teach each other and teach others, really. I mean, that's like the goal. So
for you.
For
I'm going to bottle this knowledge up. No, I'm just kidding.
And save it.
What time is it? 12:17?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I think that's it, man.
Right on.
I think that's it.
Appreciate you having me on here, bro.
Dude, I appreciate you coming on. I know we're roommates and we're best friends, whatever, but this is a passion of mine that I really love to do, and so it's really cool to get to talk and actually record a conversation.
You're good at it.
We have these talks, quite often. Well, quite often. And so it's cool that other people are going to get to hear it. And as this progresses and as this goes on, of course, I'm going to have you back on, and then it's only going to get better.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well,
keep doing it, bro. Keep doing the damn thing, because I can't wait to look back on it and know that like I was part of like the start, like so soon.
Yeah,
pretty
bro.
Cool.
Appreciate it. Well, just keep this in mind. Don't tell me what to do, and we'll see you next time. All right.
All right, bro.
Thanks, bro.
Thank you.